Good morning. Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Got the live Deerfield Beach cam up, which is only a mile or two, more than that, a couple miles north of us here. Beautiful day out there, and thank God it's Friday. I hope you're going to have yourself a nice weekend. I'm hoping to get out and do a little bit of fishing myself, and that's on Sunday. Let's see if the weather holds up for us down here. Well, let me start this entire video out with a giant FU to the CME Group, COMEX, and the CFTC. I'd like to thank them for manipulating and ruining prices for the working class out there, which they're pretty damn good at doing, is typical of these type of organizations. They work for a particular group. And what am I talking about? Well, you know, exactly what I've been saying for a little while. They're not monkey hammering it any longer on Friday, late Fridays or thin trading hours or during Sunday nights or Monday mornings yet. We haven't seen the big monkey hammering since the last one we saw, which was clear and blatant, done through the COMEX system, done with CME, probably done through one of their favorite short positions or whatever. But no less, let's see what's happened this morning with prices. I'm going to do a quick refresh here because I haven't refreshed in a few minutes here. Whoa, 1773, down $25.96. Silver down $23.69, actually down 40 cents. And platinum nearing that $1,000 mark once again at 1,007. Hasn't broken below it, which is a good sign so far for platinum. Looks like platinum will probably hang on to this $1,000 mark today. Have we seen the lows in again? No, I don't think so. But meanwhile, you can see exactly what's happening. Look, the 24-hour chart, I've been talking about this for weeks now, maybe even a month. I lose track of time, that when the monkey hammering is occurring, and it's occurring on the COMEX, CME, and the CFTC's watch, those useless bastards that they are. And I'm just going to say it like it is. You know, they're out for themselves, folks, and I'm going to get into that in a moment, who they are and why you should not, why you probably should be calling these people up and telling them what assholes they are. But you know, you got to do it in a nicer. You catch more flies with, and they are flies, trust me, maggots actually. But you catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar. But at some point, these people need to get called out, that's for damn sure. Ted Butler's been doing it for years, but it needs to be done on a mass scale at some point. Let's take a look at the 24-hour spot price. Of course, where did markets get monkey hammered again? They got monkey hammered in New York, and likely maybe even on the New York Globex market, which I did not realize, but New York Globex market is owned by the CME Group, owned by COMEX. It's just one of their thinly traded markets where they can monkey hammer shit if they like to. And what did they monkey hammer? Now, again, usually it was done on Sunday nights during thinly traded hours or before New York Open typically, but we have our monkey hammering happening right in the CME's very own COMEX group here. And take a look at the New York NYMEX, which they also own. I believe they own the New York NYMEX prices as well. Let's find out. We're going to see who the CME Group is and COMEX and how they're all tied in with each other in a bit. I'll go over that real quick. We're going to go over some news and a few other things for our Friday wrap-up show, but let's kind of just take a look at who, what, and why, and it's pretty obvious right now what's going on. Take a look at the monkey hammer. Here's today's spot prices. Look where it happened. I would suspect if it was pre-New York that this started happening, and it was probably on the New York Globex market more than likely, but you can't trust the London market as well on this. They're just as big a crooks as the CME, in my opinion, the LME is. But let's stick with who we're talking about today, the big scumbags, CME, COMEX Group, in my opinion, and CFTC, the supposed regulators of them all. Like I said, SmackDown happened the same as it's been happening over the last couple of weeks at the opening of New York. Take a look at this one. That's a killer SmackDown. Again, of course, it's on a Friday. They're going to leave it like that on a Friday. And we know who's doing this. Again, it's COMEX allowing big short positions to play the illegal game. I won't even say illegal. It's just wrong. Just plain wrong, okay? It's a rigged game, that's for damn sure. And you can tell I'm a little bit agitated this morning, not because I know where the prices are going ultimately, but at what point do people start saying something and say, the emperor has no clothes, man, or these people are just plain lying scumbags? I mean, at what point do we not call COMEX and the CME Group out and the CFTC for actually working for them, more or less, it seems like? At what point do we call these sons of bitches out? I say now. We start doing it now and soon, because this is just getting ridiculous. And let's take a look at the 24-hour silver price, just as bad. Take a look at this, October, this is today, 23.70. Again, they're not doing it in their late night bullshit Globex markets of recent, or in the London markets. They're just hitting it a little bit at a time, and pretty hard today on Friday on the opening in New York. And again, that's the short positions. There's 4 to 8 big short positions in silver that are doing this, and probably a very similar circumstance in gold, which GATA.org talks about. But it's just manipulative bullshit. Provides us a great opportunity to do what, though? Buy the fucking dips. So this is a profanity-laced show today, folks, so make sure you usher your children out of the room. It's R-rated. This is, this is kind of the topic that I wanted to talk about a little bit today, too, is how about these groups and the pain that they inflict on the average working class person or the average stacker out there, and people in general. These are just crooks, folks. And again, you can see exactly where this market got monkey hammered again at the beginning of New York. A similar pattern that we've been watching for at least weeks now, maybe a month or more, I don't know. That the smackdowns are now, they changed the time of the smackdowns. Maybe they're assuming that we won't notice that they moved their smackdowns from thinly traded holiday hours, Sunday nights, Mondays before New York open. Maybe they won't notice that they switched from that and switch their monkey hammering to every morning in the New York market. These people are, it's almost like it's in our faces now. They know we know, but nobody complains about it. Nobody does anything about it. What COMEX or CME Group or the CFTC may get, one call a week or a couple calls a week from some angry guy. Hey, you bastards, you're screwing with my silver position. But, they don't. But at some point, these people are going to have to be held accountable. I've been talking about hoping that the Wall Street Silver Group would will mature into a group that would be a force to be reckoned with, because they have the numbers, you know what I mean? If they could get a number of their members, they get 160,000 members out. And I don't think there's anything illegal on the Reddit group if you were to get people together in a very civil fashion and give them a very civil script to have them call the CFTC and the CME and COMEX on a daily basis if we have to, and our legislators as well. Again, I've been pushing for this on Wall Street. I hope they're watching, the Wall Street Silver Forum members and the people that are running that group. You have such a powerful opportunity to do the right thing and make some big changes for your own people, for your own silver apes. You really need to focus on this, guys and gals. Organize yourself as a powerful lobbying group. The idea that Wall Street Silver is going to make any dent in silver is laughable. I'm sorry, as far as taking silver off the market, 10-ounce bars, 100-ounce bars, thousands, who cares, man? It's not enough to make a difference. Your real power lays in your numbers and Wall Street Silver's ability to create a number of calls to legislators. Man, if I had 160,000 people, I get Ted Butler and GATA.org to write a nice script for me, we could change things. We literally could change things. So this is a call out to the Wall Street Silver people that your forum is a great opportunity to make positive, good changes for your Silver Ape members. Let me move back into this video here. The monkey hammering, again, as we can tell, and I've been talking about it for some time, has been happening primarily in the early morning hours in New York. They're just doing it right in your faces, folks. And that doesn't piss you off, I don't know what will. And I'm going to move out of here because we've seen this chart over and over of the last couple weeks or month or more. Let's move into what is COMEX. So, just kind of give you a little heads up who they are. So we're not just, it's not just like, a bunch of old white guys in suits, in black suits with black helicopters. It's not some conspiracy group, COMEX. It's not some, this is actually in here. I'm going to read this real quick, take a sip of my coffee, so forgive me, one sec. Okay. COMEX is the primary futures and option market for trading metals such as gold, silver, copper, and aluminum. Formerly known as the Commodity Exchange, COMEX merged with the New York Mercantile Exchange in 1994 and became responsible for most of metals trading, which is gold and silver, obviously, folks. And COMEX is the, this is where the market trades. This is the future market. COMEX is the world's largest futures and options trading for metals. It is a division of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the CME. So we'll get into who the CME is. So basically, the CME owns COMEX. CME is like a private company, more or less. Kind of more or less. It's like a private company, and they own COMEX. So that's what that means. Metals futures are mostly used for hedging and are not typically delivered upon. That's bullshit, kind of. I mean, I don't mean to call on Investopedia, but let me add, metals futures is supposed to be used for hedging. And probably not typically delivered upon if it's used for what it's supposed to be used for. But what the metal futures are used for now is by large banking entities with enough money to manipulate a small market to go in there and create billions for themselves. Literally, that's what it is. Speculation by large banks with too much money that can easily manipulate, and that's what they do. They manipulate these markets. They're not hedging. Trust me, they're not hedging. I mean, a small part of that's hedged, but a large part of that is done purposeful to make a fortune by driving the prices of silver down. J.P. Morgan, the too big to fail and too big to jail motherfuckers, they're part of that whole deal right now. Even though they're no longer in their short position, they're in a long position. They've made their money. They're actually, I hate to say it, but they're probably in a position where they can create, or they're going to be happy when metal starts going up. They own 1 billion ounces of silver. They did it by stealing it from you and I and everyone else that's invested in gold and silver for years and years. But they own 1 billion ounces of silver, and they own, I can't tell you how much gold, 30 million ounces of gold or something like this. This is a fact. This is not conspiracy. And then my numbers might be a little bit roundabout, but no less, that's the basis of it behind it. So they're no longer the big short position in silver, that's for sure. They're sitting on a good long position, but there's still 4 to 8 other banks out there that inherited these short positions. And that's something that Ted Butler talks about, again, at GATA.org talks about. There's a couple ways that they manipulate these markets, but let me move along from here. The COMEX market does not supply metals, instead acting as an intermediary. No, they don't supply metals at all. All they are is, remember I used to compare, I'd say there's 2 types of entities in the world, and the people too. You've got 3 types, actually. You've got producers, you got parasites, and you got predators. Producers would be the working class people that produce goods and services, produce good things for people, not casinos, all right? COMEX is a predator, somewhat predator and a parasitic. They're parasitic off their big customers that do the shorting, manipulative shorting. They're parasitic because they make a fortune off that. That's why they're parasites. And they're helping the predators, and the predators are the big commercial banks that do this shorting. Okay, so these people, COMEX and their favorite customers, which are the big short positions, are basically predators and parasites, in my opinion. Okay, understanding COMEX, Commodity Exchange, the main exchange for gold futures, was first founded in 1933. Of smaller, we can go into that right here and find out when they were made and a couple other things. Let me see if I can find out any other information here that is useful in my conversation here, pointing out why these guys are such scumbags and who they are too. Again, this is my opinion. COMEX operates out of the World Financial Center in Manhattan as a division of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. According to the CME Group, there are 400,000 futures and options contracts executed on the COMEX daily, making it the most liquid metals exchange in the world. I'd have to question that. Maybe the most liquid paper exchange in the world. COMEX serves as the primary clearinghouse for gold, silver, and copper futures, all which are traded on standardized contract sizes, blah, blah, blah. All right, and this is to say a trader cannot make it, blah, 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 blah. All right, this goes into detail now, folks. If you want to know more about who COMEX is, exactly how they play the game, and exactly what, not how they play the game, because you're not going to be privy to that. The game is playing favorites with the short position, and I'll get into that in a moment. But COMEX, go to Investopedia. I like Investopedia, and type in COMEX. It'll tell you exactly who they are, how they were founded, and how they make their money. Well, how they supposedly make their money. And who is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange? Well, they are the owners of COMEX right here. And we'll just go into the key takeaways. Guys, I hate it when the ads get all screwed up in these things. Who throws those ads in there like that? Let me try to refresh this real quick so I can actually read that. And there we go, key takeaways. Let's see. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange is an organized exchange for trading futures and options. CME was originally called the Chicago Butter and Egg Board. They should go back to that. And was used for trading agricultural products such as wheat and corn. In the 70s, the CME added financial futures followed by precious metals, treasuries, and other assets. In 2007, they merged with the Chicago Board of Trade to create the CME Group. Okay, so the CME Group are the owners of the COMEX, okay? One of the world's largest financial exchange operators. CME Group now owns several other exchanges in different cities. Nowadays, CME is also known for trading unusual commodities like Bitcoin futures. So for all you crypto folks out there that think you've been lucky enough to escape these bastards, no, I don't think so. Your day is coming as well. But no less, this is COMEX, the CME Group, who owns COMEX, who basically runs the whole COMEX deal. Let's get into the other predators. And well, I won't call the next group predators and parasites. Well, maybe they are, because at some point you got to wonder if they really do work for them. This, hold on, didn't mean to go there. Hold on, there's, okay, I'm going to pull this up over here. Let's see who CFTC. Okay, now you know who I'm talking about. Investopedia. This is the group that's supposed to be the regulator for COMEX and the CME Group, and they do anything but regulate. To some degree, yes, but they've been allowing the CME Group, and they've been allowing COMEX to screw gold and silver, small gold and silver buyers and sellers, and the miners too as well, and people that produce gold and silver. They've allowed them to screw these people for years and years. The CFTC, I got to figure there's two things. They're either in bed with the CME and the COMEX Group somehow, and there's some reading out there. I think Ted Butler, there's a little read we can have here where someone makes that suggestion. Not Ted Butler, but makes a suggestion that the CME, the COMEX guys probably work for the CME in some way. All right. Under the table. But if that's not the case, here's my thoughts on the CFTC. They're probably clueless. They just don't know what they're doing, more than likely. I've had the, not the luxury, but I've had the unluxury, I like that, of meeting audit people that work for governments, particularly in the sales tax field. And I'm telling you, some of these people are inept. I don't know how they get their jobs. And so if you're hiring inept regulators to look after the CME Group and the COMEX Group, which, again, either the CFTC is inept or they're in bed with them. That's the only two options we have right here. So the CFTC Group, who are they actually? And I'm going to read this real quick. We're going to just do the key takeaways. CFTC is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, was established in '74 when most futures. Okay, the commission's job is to regulate the derivatives market in the United States. That's a joke. Over the year, the role of regulating the futures and options markets has become more complex, especially with the advent of fintech and digital currencies as Bitcoin. That's right, folks. All you crypto folks, CFTC, you're on their list. So the CFTC, they're going to make sure. When it comes to Bitcoin, CFTC will make sure that the big whales, the ones that make the CME Group the most money, will be the ones that the market's manipulated for. The CFTC is made up of 13 different operating divisions and offices. The Commodity Exchange Act establishes a statutory framework in which the CFTC operates. Again, my opinion, folks, the CFTC, they're either inept or they're in bed with these fuckers. Let's move along here. And again, this is an R-rated show today, folks, so make sure you put the kids out of the room. Even remove small animals. I don't want to upset your animals either. So come on, man. We're all big people. We're all big boys here and big girls. We can handle a little language, right? Let's take it. Well, who talks about a lot of this stuff? Well, Ted Butler is the one that's been pointing out all the manipulation in silver for years and years and years. He's the man when it comes to knowing how they screw the game here. And I'm actually, if you're serious into silver and you derive any of your income from it, or make money, or you spend a lot of money on it, or you're in the business somehow, you definitely need to subscribe to Ted Butler Research. Ted Butler, the articles he's writes, they're really, really excellent. And again, he doesn't know me from Shinola, so I'm not, I have to pay for the site too, so I'm not getting it for free. And where is I had a picture here I kind of wanted to point out to you. And here's a good analogy to make, all right? This is how the cheating with COMEX, CME, again, CME, I'm going to say COMEX, all right? CME Group owns COMEX, they profit from the COMEX, so basically it's kind of one and the same. So let me just call the COMEX, and give me 1 second, another sip of coffee. Boy, those F-bombs make my mouth dry. Okay, you picture the COMEX and their exchanges. Picture the COMEX as the casino, all right? That's the dealer, all right? And picture that they're the dealer, and I don't see the dealer here at the table, I see players, all right? And picture this is the average Joe. These three folks right here are the average folks having, playing in this casino and everything like that. And right here, what you're looking at is the whale, all right, the short positions. Here's the long positions. Here's the investors out there buying silver. Here's the miners. Here's everybody else. And right here at the casino, sitting at the table, is the big whale. This is the short positions, the 4 to 8 positions, all right? Now, supposedly at this casino, the casino has their bosses, their pit bosses. Let's call them the CFTC. That's supposed to keep an eye on this table and make sure that the casino has the same rules for these players, the miners, the everyday investors, people that buy and sell gold and silver, people that mine, whatever, all right? They're supposed to make sure that the rules are the same for the players out there, all the players, including the big whales who are the short positions, but they don't, folks. What COMEX and the CME Group has been doing, in a nutshell, is they've been allowing these big whales, they even bend the rules for them and let them get away with it. They've been allowing these big whales who aren't doing it for hedging in any way, shape, or form. The big whales are coming in, just like they're going to do to cryptos, or if they haven't done it already. The big whales are going to come in. They're going to use their huge amount of money and influence and power to short these markets, like they're shorting this, not necessarily cryptos, but shorting the silver market, to do what JP Morgan did, basically, was to make themselves billions and zillions on the backs of people that legitimately hedge, on the backs of mining peoples, mining institutions, people that produce gold and silver, people that buy gold and silver as a hedge against inflation. These short positions are allowed to purposely knock these, you can call them speculators if you want, but when you can go and overwhelm an entire market, it's like a monopoly. These big short positions have become huge monopolies in these markets, where they can just simply throw money about in these short positions and screw everyone else. And the casino, the COMEX and the CME, who own this casino, make money from these short guys. In fact, they probably make far more money from these big short positions than they do from the average Joe and the miners out there. This is why they cater to them. The reason CME and COMEX groups allow these big short positions to get away with this fraudulent activity, this monopolistic maneuvering of markets, manipulation of markets, is because COMEX and CME makes a fortune off them. This is why they allow it. But it ain't right. It ain't right, folks. And at some point, again, if the Wall Street silver moderators are listening to this, even one of them, this is the power of getting a group of people together that can actually call up and do it the right way. Do it the right way. Kind of like what, again, NRA did it for years. NRA did call-ins. Call your senators. They give you a script. Call them to say no to bill number such and such. Call them to end the manipulation of speculators, large short position speculators in the COMEX markets. Something. And if these people continually get calls, the media attention will come for sure. In fact, getting more into the legislative process of calling legislators and calling these CFTC and calling CM and telling them that they need to end this, again, in a civil manner with a professional script. will be far more powerful than encouraging a bunch of members on Wall Street Silver to display their 10-ounce and 1-ounce bars. I mean, come on, man, take advantage of this, folks. I can't tell you how important I think this is. So anyway, that's how the market is manipulated. It's the casino is COMEX and CME. The casino is COMEX and CME. And the CFTC is supposed to be those guys that walk around and make sure no one's cheating, but they don't. They don't. Because they're obviously not paying attention to this big short position, speculative position, whose only power and the only way they make money is by overpowering everyone else with their vast resources, their inside knowledge, and being insiders with the people that own the casino. So I hope that makes sense to you. Well, that's my opinion. Let's move along to, there's a government JP Morgan 10-year deal to rig silver prices coming in March. This is an old article, but Ted talks about some interesting thing here. Ted Butler says his alliance, okay, here's a thought I fully acknowledge and didn't originate with me, but from a close associate. Now, this is Ted Butler saying this. Even though it incorporates many of my findings, if it does come to fruition, I will gladly reveal my associate's identity. Okay, anyway. And what is this? Because I've been talking so long, we could turn this into a long video, but I'm going to try not to do that. And let's move over here. 1 second. I've been on JPM Morgan's case since the fall of 2008, when I first uncovered that the bank was the new king in the silver short position. Because the evidence has been so strong that JP Morgan has manipulated the price and accumulated a massive amount of silver. This is old news, folks. We already know this. It's already been proven, okay? This is not speculation. I lost any fear I had when I first started referring to JP Morgan as a crooked in its silver and gold dealings. Yes, I still send the bank all my articles, and I assume I would have heard back from bank officials had they any objections to what I write. Because the new takeover of Bear Stearns by JP Morgan was necessitated by concerns for the stability of the financial system, it was basically arranged and overseen by the highest levels of U.S. government. Now, this is where this gets into a more conspiratorial role, folks. I'm not going to go into this, Ted even says that he can't say this for sure, but it does make sense, all right? Maybe that's why they're turning a blind eye to these big short positions out there. But no less, let's finish reading this. Arranged and overseen by the highest levels of U.S. government financial regulators, the Treasury Department, Federal Reserve. In a nutshell, Bear Stearns was too big to fail, yet it did. Although the USG and JP Morgan took strong measures to contain the damage from Bear Stearns' failure, one of those measures was to prevent Bear's failure from affecting the silver and gold market. This gets interesting, folks. Now, how does that apply? Why is that X there? Okay. As the biggest short seller in COMEX gold and silver futures contracts, and I don't know if many of you know this, but Bear Stearns' failure would have expected to cause prices to explode in an orgy of short covering by the biggest short suddenly gone bad. So Bear Stearns, prior to 2008, had one of the largest silver short positions out there. Had that short position gone to hell, silver would have just exploded to the upside. We'll get into that a little bit more. Ted talks about it here. Actually, silver and gold prices had been running to new highs back then as Bear Stearns lurched towards bankruptcy in March 2008. From start of that year, silver had jumped from $6 to $21, a new 28-year price high, and gold hit its all-time high of $1,000, up $150 since year end, with both prices occurring on the very day that Bear Stearns was taken over. And this is kind of coincidental as well. That was the day, of course, when JPM took over the short reins from Bear Stearns, with full prodding, cooperation, and participation from the U.S. Treasury and Fed. Almost from that day, silver and gold prices began falling and didn't stop until October 2008, when silver traded below $9, nearly 60% lower than when JPM Morgan took over. Not just Bear Stearns, but the market itself. Gold fell from its all-time high of 2020 to under $700 by that October. And on these massive price declines in 2008, JPM bought back much of its massive COMEX short position with profits of many of hundreds of millions of dollars. This was the very first of many coming successful manipulation campaigns conducted by JPM Morgan with its ascension to the very top of the silver market. Folks, this isn't a conspiracy, this is fact. This is, everybody knows out there, the numbers are out there, the data is out there that proves that JPM did indeed do this. We also know, without a doubt and factual, that JPM Morgan, COMEX allowed it. Don't forget about this. CME allowed it, CFTC allowed it. JPM, they got so wild and crazy and blatant about it that they actually did end up spoofing markets, and they took a $1 billion fine for spoofing gold and silver markets, as did Deutsche Bank and other banks. Prior to 2018, if you said that gold and silver were manipulated, you were automatically given the tinfoil hat. No, it's not possible. No, JP Morgan's not doing that. No, Deutsche Bank is not fat fingering and spoofing markets. Well, lo and behold, they get charged for it. Not criminally, because remember, these people are too big to jail. Too big to fail, too big to jail as well. And don't ever forget that, all right? So it's a fact. These people definitely manipulate markets. However, what's been left out of the picture? Where the fuck is CME? Where the fuck is COMEX? Where's their CFT, that's TC, that's supposed to be revolving around this casino table, making sure that this kind of stuff doesn't happen? They're completely absent, folks. Again, CFTC is either, they're either involved with it or they're completely inept. It's one or the other. And as far as COMEX and CME goes, the reason that they do this stuff is because they're making billions off these big short whales, these short position whales that are manipulating these markets in a speculative way. But it's not even manipulation. It's just sheer monkey hammering. It's sheer outright fraud, really, if you do it. But can you just point to a specific law or a specific rule in their markets that say no? You can't. Again, the casino favors the big whales and the short positions. They make a fortune off them, so they allow this manipulation, this fraudulent manipulation, in my opinion, to continue to happen. Let's go down here and let's see. All right, let me read the rest of this right here. Not one word of the foregoing was made up and can be easily substantiated at that point. Okay. Now this is he's talking about the in 2018 the tie between the Treasury Department and JP, and was that orchestrated so JP could take over that short position and gold and silver wouldn't go up dramatically? That's the speculative part what Ted's talking about, and he's not fully. He doesn't know exactly how that worked. And Ted says, I fully admit that as the events of 2008 unfolded, I didn't have as clear perspective of what was occurring as I do now. But 2008 was a big year for me. What was initiating the infamous 5-year investigation into silver manipulation by the CFTC and having the agency confirm my speculation that it was J.P. Morgan as the big COMEX and gold short. That being said, I had no idea back then about what would transpire over the next 10 years in gold and silver. I had a pretty good sense that prices would move higher, and they did, with silver up more than 5-fold from the lows of 2008 to the highs of $49 less than 3 years later. But I never conceived that JP and Morgan would regain control for the next 7 years and pressure prices lower. Otherwise, I would have told you and myself. Okay. All right. Well, he didn't have you don't have privy to the information that these companies do. And JP Morgan and these companies have information. They can front run markets, folks. They can do anything. They're privy to information, data, and technology that we just don't have. And they use it to run over most of us. This is true. Inflict the most pain they can and make the most money they can. Let's see. Where is it? Right here. Because of the involvement of the U.S. Treasury and Federal Reserve and J.P. Morgan taking over Bear Stearns was so obvious, no one can deny that J.P. Morgan demanded and received something in return for saving the financial system. That reward being allowed to dominate and control the silver and gold market without regulatory interference. All right. This is where the conspiracy comes into play in this particular article. And remember, this was written in 2018, okay? There's been a lot of information learned since then, but the speculation here is that J.P. Morgan was allowed to do this by the U.S. Treasury Department, and the U.S. Treasury Department told the CFTC to back off and let these guys do this because they did us a favor. Now, whether that's true or not, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't doubt it, folks. I wouldn't doubt that this is very much true. And in fact, I'd be curious to know what Ted thinks of this particular conspiracy right now. To my mind, the reward includes handoff agreements by which the CFTC was ordered to ignore the increasingly blatant dominance of the silver and gold markets by JPM, and that would make sense, okay? Tell the CFTC, leave them alone, leave them alone. Many have further expanded this premise to claim that this proves the U.S. government is controlling the price of precious metals. One of the GATA.org talks about that. But Ted says, I've never gone that far because nothing I have seen in my more than half century of adult life persuades me that the government I've observed over all time is capable of such a feat. So more or less, Ted believes that the government's incompetent. That's why he doesn't believe that the government's directly involved and that this could be a conspiracy. But it does make sense. And we do know for a fact that CFTC does nothing about this blatant manipulation. Ted says, while not a believer in a full-blown conspiracy theories by any measure, it is also clear to me that the CFTC has handled J.P. Morgan with kid gloves at best. Absolutely agree with that. I do. How else to describe the behavior of J.P. Morgan in the silver market that no other entity could get away with? We don't have to go much further than JPM never taking a loss on COMEX silver short positions, and how it can be allowed to be both the biggest paper short and biggest physical buyer simultaneously. How can one reconcile the broader concern of overall government control of precious metal prices in the face of JPM Morgan's specific action in COMEX silver? My friend's speculation does a pretty good job of answering that dilemma. So Ted's basically saying that his friend's speculation, conspiracy, and again, conspiracy theories aren't anything bad. You've been led to believe that conspiracies are bad, but the government uses the word conspiracy when they charge people with things. So the government can charge you and put you in jail for years and years and years under conspiracy. So why is conspiracy? Conspiracies sometimes turn out to be true. Not always, but they do. So his friend's conspiracy, speculation, does a pretty good job of answering that dilemma that Ted has. Ted's friend contends that the U.S. government made a 10-year deal with J.P. Morgan, giving the bank immunization against regulatory oversight in matters involving silver and gold. And we're certainly close to a 10-year mark of such an agreement. That would have been in 2018, again, when this article was written. Again, Ted says that he's not claiming authorship of the 10-year deal speculation, but I do wish I was the author. That's because it aligns perfectly with everything I think I know about silver, the U.S. government, COMEX, and J.P. Morgan. I never believed the USG would grant permanent immunity to J.P. Morgan for manipulating gold and silver, so a 10-year deal fits as a perfect substitute. Interesting thought, folks, interesting speculation there by his friend. I'd be curious what Ted thinks of this particular article today and how it ended up playing out. But let me finish the rest of it. Certainly, J.P. Morgan has put the last 10 years to good use. And again, he's talking about 2008 to 2018 in both milking guaranteed profits from his COMEX short side paper dominance and then by beginning to accumulate physical silver 7 years ago on a scale never before witnessed. Most important, the 10-year deal fits perfectly with Ted's big one premise, as it is downright remarkable what a good position J.P. Morgan has put itself in for a liftoff in prices just recently. And don't forget, folks, I believe this bull market started in 2016. So again, this would have been a couple years into this bull market we're in right now. Ted's friend holds that the coming into this year marks the end of the 10-year deal in 2018. He's in no position to argue since it was his idea to start with, aside from me fervently wishing that his take will be the right take. He couldn't find anything to dispute that. And oddly enough, this was written in 2017, about a year after I believe that the bull market we're currently in, and I know it doesn't look like a bull market, but bull markets are long-term in precious metals. We are in a bull market. Started in 2016, and Ted would be correct. JPM Morgan is out of that short position apparently and in a good long position to make a fortune, all right? But there's still, the COMEX is still out there allowing see this whale right here, allowing this whale to go out there and take advantage of all the small investors and mining companies and people that are involved with precious metals. They're all screwed as long as CME is allowing, the casino is allowing the big whales to bend the rules for them, to break the rules for them, and allow them to get away with a bunch of bullshit. And that's what you got going on. That's a fact, in my opinion. Oh boy, all right. Not much to talk about GATA.org, but what does GATA.org talk about? They talk about the same thing that Ted talks about, manipulation of gold markets primarily. Proof that Monday's gold smash was not a fat finger mistake. This was, I forgot about this. This was a fat finger smash that smashed gold down in 2014, and completely forgot about this. But what does the article say here? It talks about Sorry about that. Market data provided in annex in Illinois tonight produced proof that Monday's smashdown, again, this is an old article, folks, and think about the technology they have now to smack down stuff, you know what I mean? The AI and all this stuff. But Monday's smashdown in gold futures market was not a mistaken fat finger trade, but the product of a high-frequency algorithm trading program painstakingly designed to take the market down, all right? This is what we're looking at right now, folks. When you see these prices like you did this morning, let me do a quick update, see if we're done hemorrhaging. Usually it's done by noontime. Looks like we might be done right now for the rest of the day. But when you see this right here, and this, these are those trading programs and those algorithms that they're talking about. They're able to smack it down, folks. So yes, these markets are highly manipulated by the big short positions, the 4 to 8 short positions out there. CME and COMEX makes a fortune off them, and they turn a blind eye to this fraud. CFTC does because they either work for the CME or they're just plain ignorant. Well, I couldn't have said that enough times. I couldn't throw enough F-bombs in there. So it's been a heck of a show, folks. Not much to talk about on ZH. As you know, I don't like corporate media because you get one single narrative. And I like to have different opinions and different narratives that I can agree with or disagree with. Give me a single narrative and just paint me that. Just kill me now, man. I don't need their bullshit on CNN or MSNBC or Fox. I like different opinions. And that's what you get with ZH. You can agree with it, disagree with it, but the smart thing to do is use your own head, think for yourself. Kind of with the motto of my show yesterday, think for yourself. Not much going on in the world that's good economically or politically, which is good for us gold and silver people, all right? If we can get the CFTC to do their job and we can get COMEX and CME stop sucking up to their biggest customers, their biggest fraudulent customers. And gosh, let me let that subject go. Sorry about that. You can tell I'm worked up today. But bad news is good news overall for gold and silver. This is not good right here. 40% of the bull market is due solely to buybacks. Well, we knew that. That's this bull market is, I don't know what this bull market is. It's manipulated. It's obviously manipulated by cheap, easy money. I don't know why the Fed thinks that propping up the stock market and that the Treasury Department thinks propping up the stock market is good for the average working Joe. It really isn't. You know what I mean? All they are is making their friends richer and richer. Hey, did anyone else notice too the billionaire tax? When it was a tax on regular Americans, it takes like weeks for them to discuss it. When it was a tax on corporation, it takes like weeks for them to discuss it, before they either do something or don't do something. As soon as that billionaire tax went up in the morning, it was dissed by the afternoon. And why is that? Because they know they've already pissed off everybody. What do they want to piss off a bunch of billionaires? So we know this market is bullshit. We know that banks are looking out for their own, same as the politicians and government people out there. Futures slide dragged lower by Amazon and Apple. Good article by Peter Schiff, actually, how much gold is in the world. And I'm not going to go into it. It's worth the read, though. And I know I was looking here for something for you guys. Actually, you can just go to Schiff Gold right here. How much gold is there in the world? Very interesting. Talks about the amount of gold. Let's see. To look at it, if you formed all the gold ever minted to 400-ounce bars and stacked them on top of one another, the stack wouldn't even reach the Statue of Liberty waist. You know what? Don't go to Peter Schiff's site. You're going to have this guy pop up on you. Just read it on ZH. How much gold is there left in the world? Good article, and you won't have that pop-up bothering the hell out of you. Well, I'm going to end it, man. I think I said enough already. If I disappear on Monday and you don't see me again, you don't hear from me, you know that the CME contacted me. So just joking. But folks, man, I'm serious about this. Wall Street silver people, I'm serious about this, man. You guys, the WSS has such a great opportunity to make huge positive changes and do it the right way. I'm not talking about getting your membership to call up and yell and call them a bunch of assholes and crooked bastards. Do it professionally like the NRA did. And you got the opportunity to really do something and increase your membership and increase the respect that you'll get and increase your amount of publicity. You'll get far more publicity doing that than you will have trust me on this. I know what I'm talking about. Well, Let's move into yesterday's video. Oddly enough, yesterday's video was think for yourself and question authority. And absolutely true, folks. You know, I'm here not to tell you what to do or I'm here to teach you what I know about what I've seen and what my opinion is. And I'm not here to tell you that you have to think like me, but I am here to give you my experience in the gold and silver precious metals markets. I've been doing this since 1977. I am a soldier on the front lines of the retail gold and silver market and the wholesale market as well. I understand both. It's pretty simple. In fact, you don't have to be a genius to understand precious metal price. You know, I could teach someone to be a precious metal dealer in probably a couple weeks. So anybody that thinks that precious metal dealers are geniuses, no. Whether it's retail or wholesale, you don't have to be a genius. It's pretty easy to do. Buy low, sell high, but not really. But you know, follow the spreads and look at the gold price and stuff. It does take some skill to kind of recognize patterns in markets, and it takes skill and time being in these markets. Like I recognize patterns, you know, that a lot of people don't see, and I recognize what the best deals out there. And I've been around long enough; I know what the best deals out there. And let me touch on that real quick before I go into the video. Best deals out there: do not be paying more than $90 per ounce on any gold products. I don't care what it is. Gold Eagles are overpriced at $122. Other products are overpriced. $20 gold pieces graded. Do not buy graded U.S. gold coins. Don't let anyone talk you into that bullshit. That's collectible market, totally different market, has nothing to do with the bullion market. And the idea that you can buy graded $20 gold pieces and the government won't confiscate them is a complete bullshit marketing bullshit. All right? Avoid that kind of stuff. They're fun to collect. If you're collecting them, great. But other than that, avoid that for sure. I'm not even going to go into prices on that stuff. If you're going to buy rare coins, buy really rare coins. Don't buy that half-assed rare shit. That's mostly gold. And as far as silver goes, the best deal out there is going to be 100-ounce bars. You should be able to pick those up at spot plus 3 1/4 or less. As far as coins go, the best deal out there, Britannia's, I think, spot plus 4 1/4 or less. Avoid silver eagles like the plague. Silver maples are a better deal than silver eagles, but they're like $4.75 and less, depending on the quantity that you're buying. Silver eagles at the $7 and $8 rounds is ridiculous. My favorite product for a while was 90%. In fact, I made a lot of my customers a lot of money by telling them to trade their silver eagles in for 90%. They walked out with more silver and more gold and less premium, and it worked out well for them. So right now, you're almost at the point for you people that did that trade for silver 90%. I can almost tell you pretty soon that you can almost trade that silver 90% for generic silver now and end up with more silver ounces and more dollars in your pockets. See, this is the advantage of being a customer of mine and living in my area as well, or finding yourself a good local coin store with a guy that has half a brain that can guide you and show you how to turn your silver into more silver and not cost you a dime. Best deals in silver, again, are anything that you can pay less than a $4.75 premium for. I'd rather see you buying the bars at 3 1/4 than maples at $4.75, and even better, 4 1/4 for Britannias. But again, I think every bit money you can save in premium just gives you the ability to buy more silver later. Let's take a look at yesterday's comments, and let me sort by newest first. Okay, ready? And of course, I sort by newest first, and then I go down to the oldest comment. Does that make much sense? Jim C. says Wall Street silver needs to get on TV more and tell the uses and benefits of gold and silver. I agree that Wall Street silver needs to go on and talk about the benefits, but also talk about the manipulation that's going on. I think the power of Wall Street is their membership, and if they can get these members to do a call-in program, write-in, call-in, whatever it may be, email program, whatever. That organization could be the most powerful silver organization in the world, the Wall Street Silver people, as a lobbying group especially. Again, professionally done. Michael says those bears bite. Absolutely, Michael, they do. Hey, Silver Loving Lou, nice to see you there. And Double Ott says, I'd love to hear a show segment about the history and products of the particular mint. Silver Shield, Ingohard, Republic of Chad, Worldwide Mint, German. You know, thanks for mentioning that. I'm going to start doing more shows that are not geared to the price moves on a daily basis like I do right now, manipulation and this stuff. I'm probably going to do some more educational type shows. I got a few of them if you take a look at my webpage, Double Lot. that I've done. You know, they're not, people don't click on them a lot, but yeah, I'm going to start doing some maybe shows where I start talking about different products and the history behind it. Good idea. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate the suggestion as well. Jessica Ju, did I say that right? Jessica Ju. My Europe bullion pick was on your video from Wall Street. Oh, awesome, dude. Glad to see it. I remember that, too, the Europa bullion picks. I remember scrolling by it. I don't think I'll be sending you any silver, though. Sorry. If you were a customer of mine, you came in, I'd take good care of you for sure, though. WSS is a place to be, and, of course, watching your vids. Greets from Finland. Greetings to you as well, sir. Hope things are well with you, your family, and the rest of your fellow countrymen. Women can't, oh gosh, that's not true. I know some great women that are behind the wheel racing, women that race cars. Gosh, when I was in my professional go-karting days, I used to have this one girl that would beat me all the time. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and thank you. Celeste says, I think the spike in New York has been a pattern. I noticed months ago before Basel III. I don't think it was quite so large a swing as it looks now. Yeah, that may be true, Celeste. It's just something, I really haven't started looking at the 24-hour charts until recently, but I've noticed, yeah, that big spikes in the morning, either downward or upward, mostly downward of late. I think they changed their monkey hammer times. Lacey Hunt says Fed is acting more like a spender of last resort instead of the Federal Reserve acting concept of setting up as a lender of last resort to save collapsed banks and depositors from losing savings. I don't think spender will work. You cannot get construction workers without vaccine proof. Yeah, there's so much bad stuff going on, Celeste. I'm going to do a political show at some point. You know, I don't know if it'll be popular at all. Everybody and their brother talks about it, but yeah, I couldn't argue with that at all. Thanks for watching. Ernest says you laugh at the rigging, but it's no joke. I don't think I laugh at the rigging. I do have my nervous laugh. Like, ready? Hold on. They're rigging it again. Sorry. That's my nervous laugh right there. Okay, sorry. Not laughing. I don't think it's a joke either. And if you watch this show, I threw enough F-bombs out there, you should believe me that I'm not laughing about it, sir. Thanks for watching, Ernest. I really appreciate it, and I do agree with you. Michael, you remind me to take a sip of coffee. My mouth is getting drier. So it's F-bombs, I tell you. They really dry out your mouth. Tree Climber says, thank God Congress is arguing how much to steal from us. Oh, true. Politically true. No doubt about that. You know, I've been saying in my videos that never give the socialist a checkbook. You know, in the old days, you could give a socialist, let them babysit your kids, let them take care of your garden, that kind of thing, and you knew that you'd be okay. I don't know about today. I wouldn't let them take care of my kids today for sure, but if I had any. But definitely never give a socialist a checkbook, ever. They just don't understand economics. You send one to economics school, and you get an AOC. So totally, anyways, not going to go there right now. I've been there enough times, but I was telling a friend yesterday, years ago I used to vote, you know, if I knew a judge was more on a liberal side, I'd vote for a liberal judge because I want liberal judges. I don't want judges that are complete freaking assholes, you know what I mean? And that's what liberal used to mean, more liberal. Liberal don't mean that anymore today. These people in the current administration and the AOCs and those people, there's nothing liberal about these folks. Liberal people don't, real liberals object to, having their speech blocked. Real liberals object to a lot of the stuff that we see going on. So there's nothing liberal about these people. Again, see, got me sidetracked with politics. Please, Brian, make silver run up to $1,000 an ounce. Well, I think if the things run up to $1,000 an ounce real quickly, bread's going to be $50 a loaf at least. I don't know if that's real good. We do want to see spikes, and I do want to see a bubble before the currency starts really killing everything even worse, because then I can kind of get out in the bubble, buy a different asset, try to make some more money. But we'll talk about that later. Silver will never break out until COMEX price dumping backfires. Work that one out. John, man, your timing was perfect. This is exactly what we just spent, how long? 50 minutes talking about. Wow. If you guys have been following me for 50 minutes, man, thank you. Jekyll Forney says, I agree, I'm in Wall Street silver, but the fact of it all is people posting what they bought after a few weeks. Got repetitive and boring, but they have precious metals for sale on a few cool coin sites that I love. And I kind of agree with you there that if the next level for the Wall Street Silver Forum Group, the next level is taking it into a legislative or taking it into a lobby type level, an online lobbying. Again, professionally done. You can still have the great pictures, the great memes, and the great time out there. But take advantage of your numbers, Wall Street Silver guys. Take advantage of your numbers and organize some kind of a program where we can take the numbers that you have. You can take the numbers that you have and lobby these people, lobby our legislators to end this stupid manipulation, lobby the CFTC to stop this and to investigate into this more. Call the CME and COMEX and politely ask them to stop this manipulation of the short markets and take a look at the big picture and how badly they are harming mining companies, the people that are involved with mining companies, how badly they are harming the physical small silver retail owners, all right? They need to know this. Wall Street Silver, you have the ability to do this. I'm urging you to do this. Well, anyways, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. I hope you have a great weekend and you do something fun like I'm going to do, go fishing or whatever it may be. Meanwhile, thanks for watching, folks. Make sure you hit that subscription and like button and share me wherever you like. I like to be shared. That's really about it. Again, hope you have a great weekend. If you live in my area, again, I'm only deal locally, so if you don't live in my area, unfortunately, you're going to have to go out and find yourself a good, handsome, smart local coin dealer like myself. They're out there, folks. You can find them. You may have to drive an hour or two, but still, even if you drive an hour or two, as long as you're staying in your state, keep that money in your state. Keep it in your county. Keep it in your city. Keep it in your immediate community if you can. Very, very important whether you're buying tires, jewelry, or coins, precious metals. Try to buy local if you can. And as I always say, I will beat APMEX, JM, SD Bullion on their prices. I'll beat the three big online guys. Nothing wrong with those guys, but easy for me to beat them. And I'll give you great personal advice, as will my staff. And that's about it. Thanks. Have yourself a great weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday. Bye now.